Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long time coming. This is not just the 5K subscriber special Q&A, but this is actually an AMA, which means Ask Me Anything. And just, man, looking at the questions right now, y'all have some wild stuff. And I don't want to keep y'all here for too long, but I will say there's a lot of questions. So I'm not going to be able to go as in-depth with a lot of my answers as I normally would in one of my standard Q&As, just because there's so many questions in here and so many of them are so wild. So we're gonna get straight into this, but also I'm gonna actually have some gameplay going on, because normally for a Q&A I would just have it going like this, but I know, oh great, the AC is going. You gotta love the Florida weather. Normally for a Q&A I would just have it be like me and you talking, but since this is probably gonna be a longer one, I'll have some gameplay going just so there's something sort of stimulating going on in the background. I'll put my face cam up in the corner starting now. So there it is. First question comes from Shira over on Discord, or I should say questions, because there's a few of them. First off, what's your workout routine? Right now my workout routine is a lot different than it used to be. My workout routine used to consist of a lot of, very basic workouts. I did about 100 push-ups a day, 100 sit-ups a day, and just some other basic, strength workouts like that. I grab like a giant case of water and do squats with it, for example. I also used to run 5 miles a day. However, unfortunately for the last 3 months, I have been in recovery from an eating disorder once again. Thankfully though, I am getting a lot better, so hopefully I can start to work out a bit more again. I'm gonna ease back into it with just some basic stuff again, doing some push-ups, some sit-ups. I want to get a dumbbell set, just kind of get myself back up. I'm not looking to get absolutely jacked or shredded by any means, but I do want to get in shape, preferably. Next question is, what's your go-to comfort meal lately? For me, that would be chicken nuggets, french fries, and ice cream. However, I am severely allergic to dairy, so it is dairy-free ice cream. I just bounce back and forth between like cashew milk ice cream, coconut milk ice cream. The brand I go to most is called So Delicious. They make some, the brand name is quite accurate. They make some delicious ice creams. And I've also been eating a lot of the non-dairy Ben & Jerry's ice cream, because they have some great flavors. I've tried the Tonight Dough one so far, and it's so good, man. It's so good. It tastes just like normal ice cream, too, which is awesome. I really hope that AC shuts up soon. It is so loud. Her next question is, what's your favorite kind of tea? I would say that that's probably either green tea or just normal, just normal brewed iced tea, or sweet iced tea, I should say. I also get down with a nice herbal lemon tea, you know what I mean? Like a nice warm tea, cozying up on the patio, watching the birds and the squirrels run by and all that, I really vibe with tea like that, too. I know some people might go back and forth on whether you consider sweet tea to be actual tea or not, but I consider it to be. So if I had to choose, those would be like some of my top options. What kind of things do you look forward to in 2025? I'm looking forward to GTA 6, whatever the next Call of Duty is going to be, along with all the other games that I'm excited for. The Last of Us Season 2 is coming out here soon, just to date this video a little bit. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm just really looking forward to see where the channel goes this year. I've been experimenting with a lot of different content as always, whether that be the OMTV/Omegle content, and just branching out with different kinds of gaming content, whether it's going back to my roots per se, just making those nonchalant videos of me just sitting down and talking about video game topics that interest me, or just doing Let's Play type video series and such, and then compiling those into multiple hour-long videos. Been having a lot of fun doing stuff like that. So yeah, those are some of the main things I'm looking forward to in 2025. I'm also looking to do a bit of searching as to where I want to live at, because I am looking to move here soon. Probably not in 2025, but hopefully sometime 2026 or 2027 I want to get moved into a new spot. No clue where it's going to be yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Has there been any video ideas you want to do that you haven't done yet? Yes, but I don't want to spoil them, so I'm just going to leave that as a blanket statement, yes. How is Mikey doing? Mikey is doing fantastic. I actually just saw Mikey the other day. My mom sent a picture of him when she was like going to the store or something, and she saw Mikey walking by outside, so that made me really happy. I haven't seen him in a while just because it's been winter here in Florida. I mean, winter here is still like, 60, 70 degrees on most days, but that's still colder than what poor Mikey's used to, so he was probably off hibernating or something, but Mikey's doing great. How does it feel now that you've hit 5K subs on YouTube, and what are some lessons you wished you had learned sooner? The fact that we've hit 5K subs is absolutely insane, and I, not to get too mushy-gushy here, but I am forever indebted and am so appreciative of everybody that has supported the channel up to this point. Whether you've only watched one video before, whether you've been subscribed for a long time and watch every single video, it doesn't matter to me, man. I am just so thankful. And what's even more mind-blowing is that not only does the channel have 5K subscribers, but yesterday when me and Mr. G-Man were on Insta Live together, I went onto my YouTube analytics page just to see what the total views were for the channel. We're coming up on 2 million total channel views. Right now it's at like 1.825 million. Like, that is absolutely insane. Some lessons I wished I learned sooner. Honestly, I'm not trying to give like a cop-out answer here, but I honestly can't think of one. You know, ever since the beginning, it's all just sort of been the same for me, you know? I just kind of record video, edit, upload it, and there hasn't really been too many lessons I've learned along the way. There's a lot of skills I've learned along the way, but I feel like morally speaking, you know, I've always just kind of had the same outlook on content, and I haven't really learned anything substantial enough to like change the way I would do that, or anything that was like monumental to the way I create content or upload it or anything. Like, there's a few skills I picked up on, like refining the way that I make thumbnails and edit my videos and such, but in terms of lessons, honestly, I'd have to think about that one. Any plans for the Discord going forward? Yes, I would like to promote it a bit more and just get things more active over in the Discord again. It's been a while, and that is partially my fault because I literally run the Discord, and yet I'm not as active on there as I should be. I'm just, you know, I gotta get better. I gotta get better with that. People know me in real life and online as being a bit of a ghost, and that definitely shows with some of my activity levels in the Discord. So definitely want to work on that. What's something that made you reflect on things recently that you didn't think about before? Honestly, just this whole recent stint with my eating disorder, you know? Just going through this again just really made me reflect on a lot of things about my life, about the way that I let like some of my mental disorders, namely like OCD or ADHD, kind of control my life, you know. I've gotten better about not letting things like depression or PTSD control my life as much anymore because I know those are, you know, like those are kind of different things, I guess, but I really need to still work on like my anxiety side of things too, because my anxiety literally cripples me most days, so I still need to work on that. But I will say that, yeah, just this whole thing with my eating disorder and recovering again, it's made me reflect on, again, just a lot of things in life, the way I approach things and the way that I let certain mental conditions of mine control the way that I do things and when and how I do things. And it's just kind of helped me to realize that I'm my own person, I'm my own being, and I need to just release myself from the shackles and do what I gotta do no matter what. Any upcoming games you're excited for? Yeah, that would tie back into what I said earlier with the what I'm looking forward to in 2025. Off the top of my head, there's like GTA 6, the new Call of Duty, Borderlands 4, like everything coming out with the Nintendo Switch, right? We got Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, a bunch of these Switch 2 enhanced games that'll be coming out with that, Kirby Air Riders, for example. Like, there's so many games I'm excited for. Honestly, I might just have to make a whole video dedicated to gushing about upcoming games that I'm excited for, because there's so much up the pipeline here. And then bonus, does Bruno Mars is gay? I'm gonna say sure because I have no idea. The next questions come from What the Flip Man. The first one is, what was the funniest thing that's happened in your school experience? I got suspended for smoking a cigarette in the boys' bathroom with another girl. It's about as unhinged as it sounds. Nothing bad happened in that bathroom, by the way. Like, we weren't in there doing anything weird. We were just literally in there smoking a cigarette because we were nicotine fiends in high school. And, yeah, it went about as well as you could expect. And it was a pretty funny thing going down in the office. Like, dude, the principal, it was so unhinged, bro. I was a wild dude back then. I don't regret anything I did because if I wouldn't have messed up as much as I did back then, I wouldn't have grown up to be the man that I am now. And, you know, to be, you know, be more mature now, since I already got my early 20s stuff out back in high school. You know what I mean? Like, normally by the time you reach your early 20s / mid 20s, that's when you're drinking a bunch, smoking a bunch, doing a bunch of crazy stuff, getting arrested, but I already did that back in high school, so we're all good. What year would you say was the peak of your life? 2025. I say that because every year is the peak for me, because I take all of the experiences, lessons, things that I've endured, just whatever it is, anything that I've learned from previous years, and apply it to the current year to make myself the best version of myself yet. So 2025 would be the peak year for me because I have all the lessons from 2024 and every year before that to make me the best person that I am today, because I don't base my life and how good life is going based on the things that are happening to me or around me. I base it off of how am I doing and how am I responding to these situations. Am I handling this better than I would have in the past? Because the way you respond to situations directly correlates to how your life is going, how your outlook on life is, and everything like that. So 2025 is my peak year. Have you ever been disappointed at a Christmas gift and had to play it off? No, because I've never been a spoiled little shit like that. You know what I mean? If somebody gives me a gift, if somebody spends the time to make me a gift, get me a gift, I'm just thankful that they thought about me enough to actually do that, because growing up, I was really poor. And, you know, my mom, she always made sure there was at least something under the Christmas tree. But some years, there was only like a few presents, you know what I mean? So I was just thankful that we got anything at all because I knew of our situation. And this kind of goes into a whole other thing of why I'm kind of glad that I grew up poor, because it taught me to be appreciative and thankful for everything. Like when I look around my room and I see all the things that I own, they don't just represent, oh, a thing that I like. To me, it represents a level of willpower and achievement to where, okay, I got through all of those rough times of being really poor, and like I worked my ass off to be able to afford these other things that I want. So I look at it and I just have a completely different level of appreciation for things. I don't just look at something and see it as a thing, and I also don't see it for how much it's worth. I just see it as, okay, this is a token of the work that I put in to get it. So, again, going back to the whole Christmas gift thing, yeah, no, I've never been disappointed at any gift, just, in general. Nowadays, I'm just thankful when somebody takes the time to think about me enough to shoot me a text and check up on me, you know what I mean? So, that's just kind of how it is. Have you ever been in or seen a fight? Oh, yeah, both. Back in my high school days, like I said, I was a crazy dude back then. I got into plenty of fights. I've seen plenty of fights. It was a wild time. Maybe one day I'll tell those stories. And then, who's your favorite Discord mod / member? Oh man, you did not just ask that. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. My favorite Discord mod is Shira, Big Daddy Matty, and Lilithix. All of the Discord mods. And then in terms of my favorite members, it would be, well, there's about 100 members in the Discord, so I'm not gonna list off all of them right now, but all of them. All right, that is one screenshot of 12. I did not realize how long this was gonna take, bro. There's so many questions. It's okay. I told you guys to do this. I wanted you guys to ask me all your questions. So, okay. The next one comes from Hardcore Alex. If two people live the same lives down to the letter, will they have the same personality? No. Because the way that your personality is formed goes back to what I was saying before about the way that you respond to things determines how your life is going, your outlook on life, all of that, and the same thing would apply to your personality. It comes down to the individual person and how they respond to those situations. And the next questions come from Trank, who asks, do you have any collecting goals this year? I just plan to collect more and more games. I collected a good bit of games last year, but I plan to collect even more this year. That's just my plan, just to ramp things up, make more videos on my, my pickups as they go on a monthly basis, hopefully. That's my plans. The next question, any consoles you specifically want to collect more for? I would like to collect a little bit more for the Super Nintendo and repurchase a lot of the games that I would have had back in the day or have just always really wanted to get, even some of the more expensive ones. Anything you want to do differently with YouTube this year? I want to keep branching out and just make completely wildly different types of content. All of it mostly still being gaming related, but like lately how I've been branching out with like OMTV and stuff like that, or Omegle, one of those other sites. Just something along those lines. Keeping things quirky, keeping things random, but still keeping it very grotesque, you know what I mean? Will you play anything besides BO6 this year? LOL. He asked this back in January because I've been holding on to these questions for a long time. And yeah, that was back when I was on the BO6 grind. I'm still on the BO6 grind, but in terms of content, we've just been switching it up now. So yes, we played plenty of different games since then. The next questions, many questions, come from Big Daddy Matty 44. And we're gonna do our best to get through these because he asked a lot of questions. Okay, so these are out of order, I think. Where in the world does this even start? I guess I'll start over here. The first question is, why did your last relationship end? Oh man. Okay, so here's a little bit of a story, boys and girls. I've been single for 6 years now, over 6 years, about 6 years, something like 6 years. And yeah, so now I really actually kind of have to think about it. So my last relationship, why did my last relationship? Oh, that's right, I broke up with her. We were just kind of toxic, man. Like, it wasn't anything like that bad. It was just, I don't know, something about our energy, I don't know. It was just kind of bad. I don't know. I wasn't happy, so I just broke up with her. Like, I wasn't like a jerk about it. I'm not a jerk when I have to like break somebody's heart. I always let them off easy. Just kind of explain why I'm doing it. I'm not one of those people that was just like, breaking up with you, and then trying to like clown them on social media. I like keep it very private. I'm like, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is going on, and I always do my best to work it out with them. If there's a problem, I'm the type of person in a relationship where I don't want the relationship to end. I'm in it for a reason. So, I try to talk it out with the person, see, like, if we can come to, like, a common ground, like, hey, this is kind of bothering me, the way that this thing happened, and, I want to talk things out like normal human beings. There's no fighting, no screaming, no nothing. But, unfortunately, it got to that point with this person where it was just a very toxic thing anytime that we talked about anything, and there was clearly, like, nothing that was going to come from it, so I was just like, you know what, I think it's better if we just kind of go our separate ways rather than drag this out, because clearly we're not on the same page. And there was just like a lot of sketchy stuff she was doing as well that wasn't a good thing. I'll just leave it at that. Did you have a favorite pet as a child? What was it, and why were they your favorite? I couldn't say I couldn't pick a singular favorite pet, but I will say that my dog Trucker as well as my cat Casey Love were some amazing pets, man. I miss my cat and I miss my dog. My dog had to get put down back in 2019. Yeah, 2019 sounds about right. And my cat, we had to give her away before we moved to Florida because my stepdad is allergic to cats. So yeah, lost my cat. Really sad about that, honestly. Just saw some pictures of her a few weeks ago, though, and yeah, she looks happy. So I'm just glad that she ended up in a good home. The next question's, how do you make a tuner mount with details? Okay, listen, man, Big Daddy Matty's about to make me expose all of our secrets from back in the day. All right, so okay, for those that don't know, me and Big Daddy Matty 44, we used to be best friends back in high school, and we used to hang out all the time. We had like a group of friends we hang out with, and yeah, we had these things called tuner mounts. Gosh, damn, I'm getting flashbacks to that kitchen right now. Alright, let me lay this out, alright? In my house, the house that we lived in, I miss this house because it was my family's house, man. My great-grandfather built the house, but unfortunately we had to sell it because, you know, we moved to Florida and, you know, so, gotta contain myself. There's a lot of toxic things I could say right now about the whole move and all that, but I'm not gonna be a complete asshole, I guess. But anyway, man, I'm just getting flashbacks because there was this carport to the house, and then you go up through the front door there, and that takes you right into the kitchen, and right there, it would be me, and I don't want to say their names, so it was me, Big Daddy Matty 44, our other buddy Jay, I'm just gonna call him Jay, and our other buddy H. And man, I remember Jay was over at the stovetop making tuna melts, and we were like, man, I don't want to say what our exact condition was. We might have been drinking, you know what I mean? Smoking a bunch of cigarettes and stuff. And yeah, man, so how you make a tuna melt is you take 2 pieces of white bread, you open up a can of tuna that may or may not be expired, slap it onto the bread on the stove. He puts, I think he put like cheese over it, just like, and I'm pretty sure he did like 2 slices of cheese on his because he was like a cheese fiend. Got like the Kraft singles on there or something like that, or maybe it was shredded cheese, one thing or another, I can't remember. Our Lord knows what we were doing at the time. And then yeah, and he said they're skilleting it or grilling it, whatever you want to call it, until the tuna and the cheese starts to kind of melt all over each other, kind of starts to drip down onto the pan, gets the bread all crispy, sort of like a grilled cheese. Yeah, that was the tuner melt. That's what we called it, tuner melt. we had this thing where we used to like talk really funny too and make a bunch of weird noises, bro. Me and my friends were on edge. We were like, I can't even do it on camera, dude. We just used to have some funny voices, man. We're like, yay, that's the tuner melt, man. It's the stupidest thing in the world, bro. We used to think everything was funny. But then the next question is, where do you see yourself in the next 20 years? In 20 years, I see myself, wow. I don't know. You see, I used to actually kind of have a concrete answer for this, but it's kind of changed. You know, in 20 years, here's the thing. I think in 20 years, I want to be out of America by then. Yeah? I don't know where I'm going to go yet. I've been contemplating a lot of things. Think about maybe going to Japan. That's been like one of my number 1 spots on my list, but there's also other places in the world, like other countries that I've been thinking about visiting or possibly even moving to. Within the next 20 years, I want a fresh start to just kind of, I don't know, not forget my past, but to liberate myself from everything and just kind of do what I want, you know? I've lived a lot of my life doing what I can for everybody else, and I will always do that. I truly do believe that God sent me here to help as many people as I can, whether that be through entertaining them with my videos, talking to them, or just whatever it is, just, you know, helping people. That's, you know, that's just like part of my thing. You know, I feel like they say God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers and all that, and I feel like everything that I've been through in my life, you know, I'm not going to do the whole depression dump, like, oh, I've been through this and this and this. But if you know my story, you know, like, you know, it's, you know, I've been through a good bit, man. And I feel like part of the reason why I went through all that stuff was because I needed to learn the lessons that, you know, could be learned from everything I went through, and to form the personality traits and garner the strength that I did as a result of everything that I've been through, to help me not only be stronger for myself, but also be stronger for others, to hopefully help them, you know, guide them towards like the light in some way or another. So that's always going to be part of my mission. So in 20 years, I still want to be creating content. I still want to be doing exactly what I am now, you know, playing video games, being a goofball, and making videos for y'all. But I feel like it would also be time at that point for me to do something for myself too, because as much as I love helping everybody else and doing stuff for other people, you know, I'm still a human being, I still feel like I should do something for myself and give myself that fresh start that I've been craving for so long. And one could say, oh, but in 2020 you moved 1,000 miles away from home. Isn't that a fresh start? And not really, because the move was against my will. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't want to move. And even after the fact, nobody in the family is really happy about the move, and everybody's fucking miserable, just to put it lightly. I'm not going to go into it all right now, but yeah, it's just a clusterfuck, man. So yeah, I want to give myself that fresh start. So in 20 years, honestly, I don't know where I plan to be. All I know is that I'll still be creating content and I'll be somewhere else in the world. Hopefully. Next question, how do you feel about economic state of our country? One word, it's shit. Dude, this country's screwed right now. It's another reason I want to get out of here, man. America's in a weird spot right now. Like, I've said it before, you know, I'm still single and all that, like we've already talked about, but if I was to theoretically one day start a family, I wouldn't start that family in America. There's no way in hell. Not unless something drastically changed. I would not feel comfortable starting a family in America. Let alone, I don't even feel comfortable myself living in America anymore. I don't even feel safe going to my own grocery store anymore. It's like, actually, no, that's a lie. The grocery store is actually pretty nice here. But rather, I'm thinking more like Walmarts and stuff. Like, even go to like a local Walmart, for example. It's just like, I don't even feel safe going there. This next question is, if you could get rid of any crime, but you had to commit that crime, what crime would you commit? If we're talking about one crime that we could get rid of, like, forever, I'd probably say, like, robbing, you know, like, thievery. Because then at that point, I could just steal, like, a candy cane from the Dollar Tree, and then it's like, oh, you stole a 50-cent candy cane. Like, I could rest with that on my conscience if it meant that stealing could somehow be eradicated from the world in general. You know, no more scammers calling you, trying to steal your credit card information and steal thousands of dollars from you, or, you know, people stealing just whatever from stores. Like, if it could somehow be eradicated from people's morality spectrum, if I could steal a 50-cent candy cane to stop all those other ones, that's the one where I could be like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. And furthermore, even after the thievery ended, I would, like, pay it back, like, 4 times over here. But, like, here's $2 for the 50-cent candy cane. You know, just really pay it back in that way. So now I need to find his next batch of questions, because these screenshots are all jumbled. Is this the next? Oh my gosh, of course this is the next question. Okay, so the next question is, what's your opinion on obese people? Listen, I can poke fun at you because you are a little fat ass. Jokes aside, I don't have anything against obese people, you know? People can make the same jokes about me being all frail and underweight because of my eating disorder. I mean, now I'm in a bit of a better spot, but I still need to kind of like work on myself, get myself back up, so I don't have any opinions on it. I don't care what you are. Everybody is beautiful. I don't care if you're obese, if you're skinny, if you're underweight, if you're average size, if you're black, if you're white, if you're yellow, if you're purple, like Barney the dinosaur. I don't care. You're a human being, you exist, which means that you're beautiful and you deserve love just like anybody else in the world. I'm also sorry if you can hear my AC going crazy again. Florida weather be like that. Anyway, there is some other questions in here from, like, other people in the Discord that kind of got intermingled with his, so we're going to answer some of those and then go back to Big Daddy Matty. So, the next questions come from Raiden Revengeance, who asked, opinions on The Binding of Isaac. I love The Binding of Isaac. That game is great. It's really unhinged, though. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but if you've played the game, you know, like, some of the items in the game and just, like, some of the stuff with, like, the lore. It's a crazy game, but it's really fun. It's a really good game. The next one, opinions on Team Fortress 2. I love TF2. I haven't played it in years, though, if I'm going to be honest, but I remember back in the day, in my high school, they gave us laptops, and I ended up, like, kind of hacking the laptop to be able to run Steam on it, because they had it locked originally on the laptop, but I just, you know, worked my Asian magic, and, yeah, I sit there playing TF2 in class, so that's a positive memory of mine. TF2, great game. And have you ever heard of the Ghouls 4 series? I actually haven't. Is that, like, a series of games? I'd have to look into it. And also, how have you been, man? What was 2024 like for you? I have been pretty good. You know, I can't complain. Like I said earlier with the what's my peak year question, I'm better each and every day because I have the lessons from the day before to help me get through the next day. So I'm genuinely doing great. Thank you for asking. And I hope you're doing well as well, man. It's been a while since we got to really catch up, so I hope you're doing good as well. And then what was 2024 like for me? It was all right. You know, it was a year in the life of G. It was a year of lessons, a year of growth as always, and I can't really complain. It is what it is. His final question is also, what is your favorite TF2 class? Honestly, I used to run engineer all the time. I don't know if that's a basic answer, but I was just always drawn to that class. The next question's coming from Big Daddy Matty once again. He says, how does this photo make you feel? Insert photo above. So, here's the photo. For those, just for some context, this is a really old photo with my old crappy phone where I found this glob of rice in my, like, you know, my rice cup, whatever I was eating, that was just all dry and stuck together. So I was, like, really scared to eat it. So I opened my mouth real wide and made a goofy face, and I took that picture, or no, I'm sorry, it was actually a video. I took a video with my cruddy Android phone, and then he went through, screenshotted it, and now this has just been like a permanent stain on, I don't know, on his photo gallery, I guess, because he never deleted it. So, how do I feel about that photo? Yeah, no, I don't like it very much. Okay, so then his next question is, which ex-girlfriend was the worst and why? Oh my gosh, dude. Look, man, most of my dating experience was from, like, high school. Okay, I won't say any names, and you probably won't even know who I'm talking about, but back in 8th grade, this was so, like, oh man, it was so disheartening at the time. I was talking to this girl for a while, and then we ended up, oh my gosh, bro, this is so... I never use this word because the word in itself is kind of like, but cringe, okay? I never say the word, but it's just, it is what it is, okay? It was kind of cringe. So one morning, she was literally just filling up her bottle at the friggin' water fountain, dude, and we were just sitting there talking, and I was like... I don't know how to explain it. I had a lot of feelings for the girl, so I just kind of popped the question right there. I was like, you know, just ask. I was like, you know, you want to go out with me or what? And then, we ended up dating for, 12 hours. And in that 12 hours, I think we both realized that we enjoyed talking more than we did dating, because neither of us were feeling it. It was just weird. So it was just kind of a mutual thing by the time that the school day ended. Or no, I'm sorry, it was a little bit after the school day ended, and we were just like, yeah, you know what, let's just not do this. So yeah, I don't know, it was weird, because even though it was, like, mutual in a way, it was still kind of disheartening, because it was like, dude, we were talking for all that time, and, like, I don't know, man, dating was just weird. So I can't necessarily say that was my worst ex-girlfriend, I would just say that was my worst dating experience. There was worse ones, man. I've been cheated on in literally every relationship I've been in ever, so, you know, that's a thing. That's one thing I gotta say, I can't stand cheaters. Like, if you're in a relationship, why in the world would you cheat? Why would you even flirt with somebody else if you're in a relationship? Like, I'll never understand that. Like, me personally, not a cheater. Never have, never will. If I'm gonna be honest, the closest I ever came to cheating, and, you know, this in itself, and this was, like, the only time I ever did anything questionable, but at the time, I feel like it wasn't even, like, yes, it was cheating, but at the same time, like, we were already kind of broken up, so it was kind of like, whatever. There was this time where I got, like, really stupidly drunk, and I was hanging out with this girl that was, like, into me, and I was, like, kind of into her, and, yeah, again, and this was at the point where that girl that I was with at the time had already cheated on me. I was already aware of this, and things were already really toxic, and we were already, like, in that phase of, like, breaking up. Like, neither of us really wanted to break up, but we were, like, kind of already were broken up, and then I was, like, really drunk, and we ended up kissing or whatever. And, you know, like, that was stupid. Like, yes, I will admit that was a mistake. You know, I'm not too much of a, I'm man enough to own my mistakes. Yes, that was a mistake, and I shouldn't have done that, but at the same time, just where that relationship was at, it was basically already over. Should I have waited until it was officially over? Yes, but guess what? The relationship was literally over the next day anyway, because, I mean, things were already just, like, unbearably toxic anyway, so, you know, that's just, it is what it is. His next question is, do you think you would win the Squid Games? Honestly, nah, dude. I'd probably get in there, like, one of the first games and get popped in the face. Like, let's keep it a buck. Okay, what's this next question? How evolved do you think gaming will be in the next 25 years? I think in the next 25 years, graphics will, like, they'll probably get a little bit better, right? We'll see, like, higher resolutions, higher frame rates, but in terms of, like, actual graphics, probably not going to go beyond that. I think the next innovations in gaming are going to be through other forms of gaming, such as VR, AR, and things similar to that, where those technologies will advance. Maybe they'll find a way to help people get less motion sick, for example, while playing VR, because I cannot play VR without getting severely motion sick. I also feel like the other technologies will start to advance a bit, like we've seen some of those interactive experiences like at the Nintendo Museum, and I remember there was like a Minecraft Live event that had something similar to that. I think we'll see more innovations with that, as well as some other technologies to make VR feel more like you're actually inside of the game world. I feel like that's where the next innovations, you know, are going to come from in gaming, rather than just sheer graphic fidelity or frame rate fidelity or resolution fidelity, like we've seen up to this point. Oh my gosh, and it's a nice question. How do you feel about the Elon salute at the inauguration? Okay, here's the thing. I don't care about politics. I don't pay attention to politics. I don't care if people think my politic takes are bad. I watched the video, and it literally just looked like he was, like, saying, like, from the heart, because he, like, turned around and did it multiple times. Like, if you're gonna do a full, you know, I can't say it on YouTube without getting in trouble. If you want to do that kind of salute, you gotta do the whole thing, you know, and say it, and put your hand, like, right up in the air. There's a difference between putting your fist in the air and then doing, like, the whole... you know, it's just, it's completely different. He was clearly going, like, my heart goes out to y'all, like, thank y'all for making this like vote happen. Okay, so I looked up a picture of it. I was actually wrong. He did actually have his hand out completely straight, but he still wasn't actually doing it like a salute, you know what I mean? I don't want to sit here and do it, but if you're gonna do an actual salute, like, you know, your arm would be like straight out going up and it would be like very apparent as to what you're doing, but he wasn't even doing that, man. It was like going out like a weird angle, like sending it out to the crowd. So I don't know. Either way, I really don't think it matters. Like, why do we care if a billionaire is tossing his hands in the air? We have more important things in the world going on, dude. Like, do you know how many people are dying from cancer every single year? Do you know how many homeless people are stuck out on the streets? How many kids in Africa are dying of hunger? There's all these terrible, actually terrible things going on in the world, and people are worried about some billionaire tossing his arm in the air. Like what are we even talking about? But this is what happens because there's these chronically online losers that never get off of the internet, and they just see whatever's in their feed, you know, whatever headlines popping off, whatever's trending, and then they decide to make that their identity and get pissed off about it for an entire day or week, and then they move on to the next thing and forget that the other thing even ever happened or why they were ever even mad. Like, it's just, it's like, what are we doing? I'm not saying this as an attack to you, Big Daddy Matty. I'm just saying in general with the internet. It's just like, it's insane. But anyway, the next question comes from Udo's Guns here, who asks, what's your favorite thing you've done for a video so far of all time? Honestly, that would be really hard for me to pick, man. I've made a lot of videos that I'm really proud of and that I just had a lot of fun making. I'd probably say that if I had to think of one thing off the top of my head, going for the Platinum Trophy in Elden Ring was definitely up there. That was not just an adventure, but a sheer gauntlet, brother. The next question's coming from Big Daddy Manny once again, who asks, which toe of yours is my favorite? I'm gonna say my right big toe. And then he asks, what is Spike? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, mother, siblings, if you're watching this video, please click away. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Spike. Let me tell you lads a story. There was this time back in high school where me and my buddies were hanging out, and we were at one of our houses, and, oh my god. We were looking at all the wrong places, man. And let's just say that we came across some BDSM spiky dildo. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. We came across some spiky dildo, and yeah, that's Spike, man. Ever since then, man, me, Big Daddy Matty, and just some of the other dudes from that group, we always knew that as Spike. And any time that anybody said Spike, we'd start dying of laughter because we knew exactly what we were talking. Gosh, dude, you can't even make it up, bro. Oh boy, grab the fucking dildo. It's fucking spikes. It's like the Saints Row 3 bat. Just hold on, just give me a minute. I composed myself. Okay, deep breathing exercises. I'm losing my cool. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, I can't even breathe. Okay, gotta reel it back in here. Okay. So yeah, that's man. I can't even believe I just answered that question. Okay, that was Spike. My goodness. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Who was the last person to make you cry? I can't remember the last time a person made me cry, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really cry over other people or things that other people do. It's just not my thing. The next question is, what's one experience that shaped you into the man you are today? I definitely say my eating disorder. You know, I feel like the first time that I went through it and recovered should have been my wake-up call, but especially this last time. Because it just really taught me how precious life is and how quickly it can be taken away, even by your own hands, even if you don't realize it. You know, just feeling my body kind of deteriorate again before my own eyes was just a really scary experience. And, well, not even just scary, but rather just like an enlightening experience. You know, just experiencing all that again, experiencing all those emotions. So, yeah, I definitely say my whole experience with eating disorders. His next question, I can't believe I'm about to answer this or even say it. Okay, look, I'm not the one that is asking this question, obviously. It's coming from Big Daddy Matty. Don't get mad at me, I'm just answering the question. He asked, do you think Bush did 9/11? Personally, I don't know. I think some terrorists drove the planes or flew the planes into the Twin Towers. That's what I think happened. I don't know anything beyond that because I'm too stupid to care. His next question is, who do you think the best gamer in your family is other than yourself? Are we probably either Caleb or Mama G. They're both pretty good. And then the final question from Big Daddy Matty is, how does it feel, or how does it make you feel that your little brother started a YouTube channel? Shout out. I'm really proud of my little brother, and his content is awesome. I'll have it linked in the description of this video if you guys want to go check it out. I'm pretty sure I've had it linked in the description of every video. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I always leave it down there. If it's not, I'll have to like re-add it, but I'm pretty sure it's still down there. Yeah. I love my little brother, love his content, he's doing great stuff, and this summer when he visits again, he wanted to grind out some content again, get it like scheduled for, and all that, so even after he like goes back home, then there's like content that just kind of like continuously come out, so we're gonna grind a bunch of that stuff out this summer, and I'm really excited to help him with that, and I really hope things continue to go well on his YouTube journey, because he's been killing it so far. And then Big Daddy Matty's actual final question. Sorry, I missed this one. What was the incident in 2018 involving the police? Full story. Oh boy. Okay, 2018. If you are indeed referring, oh goodness, are we referring to the football stadium, or are we referring to the time that the cops came to my house because of loud noises, substances, and fights with neighbors? Because if we're talking about the thing with the fights with neighbors, I'll just kind of like go through it real quick. Basically, we'll just put it in layman's terms, me and my friends were throwing a party, we were being stupid, and let's just say one of us, maybe it was me, ended up getting into a fight with one of the neighbors. It wasn't even like I started it. The neighbor came over and was being an asshole because we have music going at 8 p.m. Oh goodness, I'm sorry, it's 8 p.m. and we have some music going. We were literally about to turn it off, and yeah, it wasn't like a physical fight, we were just like yelling at each other, but yeah, that ended up happening. And then one of the people that was at the house, because there was like a bunch of people at the house, one of them was a freaking moron and ended up throwing a beer bottle into the road. And I forget if it smashed immediately or whatnot, but I just remember the cops came to my house, and as they were talking, they were like, we heard reports of people tossing bottles into the road. Is that true? And I was like, no, of course not. And as soon as I said, no, of course not, I swear, it was literally the worst timing, and the universe was out to get me, because as soon as I said that, a car drove over one of the broken bottles, and it smashed to bits. As soon as I said, no, of course not, psh, you could just hear it off in the distance, and the cop looked at me like, alright, it like totally wasn't fine. I was like, dude, come on. So yeah, that's kind of the TLDR of it, if that's the one you were referring to anyway, and yeah, that was just whole situation. It was, I had to do community service, it was on my record, but then I was a good boy, got it expunged from my record, so now my record's clean again. But, yeah, here's the thing. I am lucky to have a clean record with how many times I was arrested, taken to the police station, got fined, had to do community service, had to do this, that, and the other, was on a first-name basis with the police in my area. Literally, I knew all the police officers on a first-name basis, and they knew me on a first-name basis. I'd be out, you know, just walking around, going to the grocery store, they'd be like, hey, Nathan, how you doing? You be good today? You're not doing anything too crazy? Like, it was like, come on, man. But no, the police officers were always really cool, you know, even though I was a bit of a moron back in the day, you know, they were good, you know, they always had my best interest at heart, and, you know, even though I was definitely old enough to know better, you know, they were awesome, and, you know, it was kind of cool knowing them on a first-name basis, too, just because shitty stuff did happen in our neighborhood from time to time, so it was always cool, you know, especially with me having younger siblings, just being able to be like, hey, I know this officer, you think help me out if anything crazy happens, so, you know, it was cool in that sense, but, yeah, I'm glad I was able to get my record clean, and I'm glad that I'm a better person than I was then. Now we have the YouTube questions. So the first one comes from my sister, who asks, what's your favorite holiday? Halloween. Yeah, I'm gonna say Halloween.
I'm also leaning towards Christmas because I really love the festive vibes, you know, and you got the Christmas music going and it's all like cheerful and festive outside. I love Christmas, but
I think Halloween's still my favorite. You know, there's nothing quite like on Halloween night, going outside my neighborhood, blaring Marilyn Manson and just scaring the shit out of all the kids, you know what I mean? I don't do it intentionally to be a dick, it's just people get scared of me when I'm out blaring my music and wearing a scary costume or something. Anyway, the next question comes from Ish Honda, who asks, is content creation your full-time job, or do you have a day job? It's part of my full-time job. I'm self-employed, but I'm not going to go into like the whole thing now just for the sake of time, but basically I do content creation. I also run an eBay business. I also do some affiliate marketing stuff. I also just have other stuff that I do on the side. My main philosophy with careers is that you should always have no less than 2, preferably 3 or more sources of income, so that's what I built for myself. I have multiple sources of income just to keep myself going, you know, because if you have one source of income, like say you just have a 9 to 5, well, that's it. You know, if you lose your job, you're done. But if you have multiple sources of income, sure, you might lose like one thing here, but as long as you have these other things keeping you afloat, then you're set up for long-term success. So, you know, I'm not like some career guru, you know, wannabe billionaire or anything like that. I'm just, you know, I've set up these things for myself to set myself up for long-term success. The next question comes from my mom, who asks, if you were on a desert island and could only take 5 items, what would they be and why? I would take a Super Nintendo, a PlayStation 2, an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 5, because the PlayStation 5 can also play PlayStation 4 games and also has backwards compatibility with other things. And then the 5th item I'd take would be a TV, so then I could actually see said games. The next question comes from Foxy Burger, who asks, what kind of music do you like? I like any kind of music, man. I get down with like metal and rock, rap, electronic, pop, you know. I got a Slipknot flag in the back. It literally says people equal shit on the barcode. But I'm also the same dude that'll listen to, like, Taylor Swift, you know what I mean? I get down with it. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. I'm just kidding. My singing voice doesn't actually sound like that. I'd be terrified if it did. But it's not much better. I suck at singing. Anyway, the next question comes from Ben Armstrong, who asks, you can only play 3 games for the rest of your life. What games would they be? Off the top of my dome, I'm going to say Resident Evil 4, Minecraft, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And finally, the last batch of questions comes from Jizag123, who asks, top 5 favorite movies of all time. Also, what's 97 plus 52? 97 plus 52, quick Asian math, equals 149. As for my top 5 favorite movies of all time, it's hard for me to actually pick that right now, but I'm gonna say The Godfather, 8 Mile, oh goodness grief, Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, The Dark Knight, Batman 89, oh gosh, no, but there's so many other movies, you know, like the first Turtle movie from the 90s, I love that movie to death. There's, gosh, man, there's so many movies I could list off right now. I'm just gonna stick with those for now, but yeah, there's a lot of movies that I could really throw into that list, man. Terminator 2, Commando, Predator, Wanted, dude, Wanted is such a sick movie. That's the movie where they can, like, curve the bullets, right? Because oh my gosh, now I'm about to geek out, bro. I remember the first time I seen this movie. My phone ran out of storage, so I'm gonna have to redo a lot of that. I don't even know when it stopped recording. I'm pretty sure it stopped sometime when I was talking about Wanted. But anyway, Wanted. It's a movie with Morgan Freeman and Angelina Jolie, and basically in the movie they can curve bullets. So instead of just shooting a gun normally, they can like twist their wrist like that kind of, like curve the bullet, and it'll like, you know, it's like, for example, if say I'm looking at you but there's like a pig behind you that I want to shoot, they can like curve the bullet so it would like go past you and hit the pig behind you. Such a rad movie, man. Y'all gotta watch that movie if you've never seen it before. And the guitar riff for the theme song for the movie was like, I can't even remember like how to do it off the top of my head, but it's so gnarly. But anyways, there it is, folks. There is the Ask Me Anything. We had some edgy questions in here, but honestly, it's a lot tamer than I was expecting it to be. You know, when I told y'all to ask me anything, I was expecting some heinous stuff, and honestly, we got some heinous stuff in here. Let's keep it a buck. But you know, overall, I'm actually pretty happy with how all this turned out. And yeah, thank you to everybody that sent your questions. And as always, if you would like to be featured in the next Q&A or just, you know, get down with anything that's going on in the Grotesque community, there's a link in the description of every single video to join the Discord server. I'll let you guys know over there immediately as soon as literally anything is happening, and also we just have a really nice community over there. I love to have you guys there because, as I mentioned before, I'm trying to make things more active over there, so definitely please consider joining. It's free. But anyways, I'm thinking about bringing back monthly Q&As, so if you guys want to see that, just let me know. Obviously, this will be the one for April, so if we do another one, it wouldn't be till sometime in like the middle of May, probably. But yeah, again, thank you to everybody that sent questions. I had a lot of fun doing this, and it goes without saying, thank you guys so much for 5K subscribers and your support of the channel. It seriously means the world to me. I am forever in your debts. Thank you. But anyways, always massive shout out to all the patrons and channel members. Thank you to all you in the low baller tier, and a big shout out to the big baller tier, asking, and big dad and many, and a big shout out to the GT run of it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are little legends. I love you. Good on, arigato gozaimasu. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.